If you're running a CPA firm anywhere in the US, you know that talent isn't just a line item, it's pretty much the entire engine of your growth. But what happens when that engine starts to sputter? Well, you feel it everywhere, in your stretched teams, in missed opportunities, and just that constant pressure of trying to keep up. Today, we're going to dive into how you can transform this huge challenge into your greatest strategic advantage.
So let's just get right to it. Does this feel familiar? You know, that endless cycle of hiring, training, and then desperately trying to hold on to your best people? Is that the one thing that's really holding your firm back from what you know it could be? And hey, if you're nodding along right now, you are definitely not alone. This is what we call the CPA Talent Challenge. It's this environment of tight deadlines and just relentless compliance work that makes everyone, from the senior partners all the way down to the newest hires, feel completely strained. I'm willing to bet these issues sound painfully familiar. First, it's a struggle just to find experienced people. Then, bam, tax season hits and the workload just explodes. Meanwhile, the cost for salaries and benefits just keep climbing, which leads directly to burnout. And honestly, the worst part? All of this starts to chip away at the quality of your client's service.
Okay, but what if we could totally reframe this whole problem? Instead of constantly just plugging holes in the dam, what if we could build a completely new kind of team, a new talent strategy that gives you flexibility and power exactly when you need it most? And that brings us to this core idea, strategic outsourcing. And let's be really clear here. This is not just about cutting costs. This is about using outsourcing as a legitimate talent management tool, a way to build a high-performing team and scale your operations on demand without all the overhead. I mean, just look at the difference here. It's pretty stark, right? On one side, you've got the old way. Fixed costs you have to pay no matter what, scaling is slow, and you're stuck with a limited local talent pool. But then look at the other side. Your costs become variable, matching your actual workload. You can scale up or down in a flash, and suddenly you have access to a global pool of skilled professionals. This isn't just a small tweak, it's a fundamental shift. So let's go back to those problems we talked about. Now, with this approach, you can get skilled professionals exactly when you need them. You can scale way up for tax season and then scale right back down instantly. This takes a massive amount of pressure off your core team, which is huge for preventing burnout. And you get all of this done in a way that's much more cost-effective. It's a win-win-win. Okay, that all sounds great in theory, but what does this actually look like in the real world? Let's walk through two super common scenarios where this strategy can make a huge, huge impact. First up, the big one. You know what I'm talking about, the annual chaos of tax season. It's the ultimate stress test for any firm's capacity and staffing model. Okay, just imagine this for a second. Instead of drowning in a sea of high-volume personal tax returns, you can onboard trained professionals almost overnight. They handle the volume, keeping the accuracy and quality high, which frees up your senior staff to focus on the really complex cases and, actually talk to your clients. You get all the capacity you need without that horrible annual stress of seasonal hiring. But look, this isn't just a tax season trick. What about the day-to-day, month-to-month grind? All those essential accounting tasks that are also incredibly time-consuming. Well, by outsourcing your routine accounting work, you basically get a trained, dedicated team for things like bookkeeping and reconciliations. They use standardized workflows to make sure the quality is always there, which takes a ton of recruitment pressure off of you. And that stability is the real game changer. It lets your core team finally shift their focus from just compliance work to those high-margin advisory services. So the potential here is pretty clear, but the big question is, how do you actually make this work for your firm without causing a huge mess? Let's walk through a simple playbook for success. The process is actually more straightforward than you might think. It all starts with identifying the right tasks, that routine, high-volume stuff. From there, you just need to document your processes really clearly to make sure everyone's on the same page. Once you've got strong communication in place, you can then refocus your internal team on that high-value work that really drives growth. And of course, you just keep evaluating and tweaking as you go. All right, let's talk about the elephant in the room. Because whenever firm owners hear the word outsourcing, this is the first thing they worry about, their existing team. And the answer is a very clear and definitive no. This is not about replacement. It's about reinforcement. It's about making your team stronger, freeing them from the repetitive work so they can focus on the strategic, client-facing stuff where they add the most value. Think of it as a tool to reduce their stress, not to replace them.
Okay, the other big concern, and it's a totally understandable one, is all about quality. Can an external team really deliver work that meets your firm's high standards?
Absolutely, because quality is completely non-negotiable. Any reputable partner ensures this with really rigorous systems. We're talking process-driven workflows, extensive training in US standards, and multiple levels of review. The result is work that's accurate, consistent, and review-ready every time.
So, after all of this, what's the ultimate takeaway? What's the one big idea that could really change how you run your firm from here on out? It really boils down to this simple but incredibly powerful shift in your mindset. You can stop seeing talent as your biggest bottleneck and start seeing it as your most flexible and powerful strategic advantage.
So, I'll just leave you with this one last question to think about. When you really look at your firm's structure, the pressures you face, and your goals for the future, is it truly built to scale? Or is your current talent strategy the very thing holding you back?